Looks like it's APO season. Sygnus Credit Investments plans to raise billions of Jamaican dollars in its additional public offer APO. But is this for you or for those big pension funds? I'm Kalilah Reynolds, and it's time for another episode of Money Mondays JA, brought to you by Proven Wealth. Before we dive into it, make sure to click that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on those post notifications. Also, subscribe to our newsletter by clicking the link up here or in the description box below. It's been almost a year since we started hearing talk about Sygnus coming to the market with some type of offer. CEO Berisford Grey broke the news on taking stock just before Christmas last year. But those plans were delayed by COVID-19, which initially hit Jamaica in March. Well, it looks like they're finally ready to get back on track. The company held an extraordinary general meeting on September 29, where shareholders approved the APO. Now, before I go any further, let me explain a bit about what Sygnus is and how they make money. The company started 3 years ago in 2017. They're essentially a private equity company, meaning they invest in companies in exchange for a significant ownership stake in the company. And although there are a lot of other companies that do that sort of thing, Sygnus has really carved out a niche by targeting medium-sized companies across the Caribbean. Here's how Beris explains their business model on taking stock.
We started the firm primarily to focus on creating access to finance and funding by medium-sized firms, as we believe that there was a shortage in terms of accessibility for these particular firms who are on a growth path. So our first initiative was to create what we call an alternative investment company, Sygnus Credit Investment, which focus on providing private credit, which is basically flexible capital in the form of debt to medium-sized firms across the region. That reception by the market was tremendous, and it has allowed Sygnus Credit Investment to grow significantly. As what we call a private credit platform, Sygnus Credit Investment has evolved into the largest private credit investment company, certainly in Jamaica, and I would say one of the largest in the region.
At last week's extraordinary general meeting, Chief Investment Officer at Sygnus Capital, Jason Morris, indicated that they continue to grow rapidly. He said the funds would fuel their expanding investment portfolio. Since launching in 2017, their investment portfolio has grown to $53.5 million as at June 2020, but they want to double that figure within the next 3 years. Last financial year, Sygnus's investment portfolio stood at $34 million, so you see where they've grown already. And they haven't indicated yet how much they intend to raise from the APO. Last year, Beris indicated it would have been around $20 million. I don't know how significantly COVID would have changed that number. The company plans to use the proceeds to pay down on debt, increase lending, and enable dividends. And we also know that the APO is likely to be more than $10 million because they want to use the funds to pay off a bridge loan for that amount. A bridge note or a bridge loan is a short-term loan used to quickly pay for an investment or transaction. So just like a bridge, it helps you get from point A to point B quickly rather than having to go all the way around trying to raise funds. But the intention is to pay off the bridge loan very quickly. Now, another thing that we don't know yet is the price at which the new SCI shares will be offered. A number of things will influence the trading of the stock prior to the new shares coming on the market, assuming a successful APO. So keep in mind that the stock price will likely fluctuate more than usual in the final days before and after the addition of the new shares. I also need to explain something else about Sygnus shares. They actually have 4 sets of shares listed on the JSE in 2 main categories, Jamaican dollars and US dollars. So you'll see SCI JMD and SCI USD. The Jamaican dollar shares currently trade within the $19 band after climbing in August from the $15 range, according to information on the JSE's online trading platform. And the stock has languished in the $15 range between May and the last week in August. Interestingly though, its US dollar denominated stock tells a different story. It actually hit a one-year high of 19 cents US at the same time that the Jamaican dollar stock hit a one-year low. That closed last Friday at 13 cents US. Now back to the APO. As I've explained previously, an additional public offer APO means a company is creating and selling additional shares in the company to the public. Sygnus currently has 350 million shares listed across both the US and the Jamaican dollar indices of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And according to JSC data, those shares are worth about 5.6 billion Jamaican dollars or 39 million US combined. Looking at their financial performance, SCI made $2 million US in profit for its full year ending June 2020, or the same amount of profit as last year. This puts the return on capital at 5% in hard currency terms. And they paid out most of those profits in dividends. Shareholders benefited from $1.9 million US in dividends. That's 26% more than last year. And shareholders can look out for the next dividend payment on Friday, October 16, 2020. Now, we spoke to Jason Morris after last week's EGM just to get a feel of where they stood ahead of the APO. And he told us that COVID-19 hasn't seriously affected their operations. However, they did take a $1 million US hit between January and March. And this was as a result of a one-off conversion to Jamaican dollars. You know how the dollar has been doing some weird stuff lately. It's been up and down. Another thing though, Jason also told us that they've put steps in place to heavily mitigate any future impact. So despite this hit, SCI was still able to maintain its profitability during the pandemic. And one key approach has been to focus on improving the company's cash flow. As expected though, Jason said investor interest for the APO is strong even before the release of the prospectus. And he also told us that most of the interested shareholders are actually pension fund investors. Since the pandemic, many pension funds have accumulated billions of dollars in new payee contributions, but they have few places to invest. Currently, 9 of the top 10 largest shareholders in SCI are pension funds, led by ATL Pension Fund with 8%. Then MFNG Finance, they have 6%. The National Insurance Fund also has 6%. Gassan Azan, a noted businessman and one of the seed funders of SCI, holds 2% of the company. He's their largest individual shareholder. Since the listing aims at least partially to please pension funds, then it will likely be a large offer, and that's in order to satisfy pension funds' deep appetite. So what about small shareholders like you and me? Well, we need to wait for SCI to announce the pricing and secondly, the size of the offer in order to calculate the effect that the new shares would have on our investment. So speak to your wealth advisor, and if you don't have one yet, you can contact one at Proven Wealth. You can find them online at provenwealth.com or on social media at We Are Proven. So have you made your decision? Will you invest in Sygnus Credit Investments' upcoming APO? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Of course, when the prospectus drops, we'll have the full review for you. That's it for this episode of Money Mondays JA, brought to you by Proven Wealth. Here's what's coming up on Taking Stock.
Is sugar dead? Manufacturing and distribution companies like Separod have rid their hands completely of sugar. Was that the right choice? Kalilah Reynolds took a trip to her hometown Belize to explore the concept of sugar and its future in the Caribbean. And later, the analysts weigh in on the latest market developments, the worst quarterly decline since the formation of independent Jamaica. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin has released data showing the economy contracted by 18% for the second quarter of 2020 between April and June. This means Jamaica is officially in recession. And Sygnus gets the nod from shareholders to prepare its additional public offering. We'll discuss.
Before I go, make sure to click that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on those post notifications. Also subscribe to our newsletter by clicking the link in the description box below. I'm Kalilah Reynolds. Stay safe.